20th sitting of the Tobago House of Assembly 2013-2017 session took place in the Assembly Chamber at Gillingham Street, where the members of the House responded to the THA budget, which was presented by Finance Secretary Joel Jack. Chief Secretary Orville London began his presentation by speaking about the University of Tobago.
I wish to indicate that the issue of the University of Tobago is on the table and will remain on the table. You will recall, or you might not recall, but a report was laid in the House a couple of years ago, and that report sets out the Tobago House of Assembly's position with respect to the University of Tobago. The Tobago House of Assembly's position with respect to tertiary level education or located in Tobago is very different from that of the central government. The central government has a viewpoint which, as far as I'm aware, has not yet been explained or expanded. You just hear about this integrated campus. What it means, I don't know. I would have met with the Minister of Planning and the Minister of Tobago Development, and even at that meeting, they were unable to tell me what it was. All they know, they want land. And my position is I can't take Tobago people's land and give it to you to do something that I don't know about. So the land has not yet been allocated, and up to now, they cannot tell me what this integrated campus is all about. But the point I'm making is this. We have a concept for University of Tobago using as the base the Tobago Hospitality and Tourism Institute. Because I'm very happy and very proud of the institute that I have been informed by the Accreditation Council that within a very short time, the institute will become one of the first locally based institutions to have institutional accreditation, and I want to congratulate the university for that. Now, if the institute has accreditation, then the concept which we will have put on the table becomes even more credible. Because the whole idea was to use the institute as a base and then build on that. One of the things we're going to do, therefore, is to identify what we might call our strengths. Because with an island the size of Tobago, you cannot do everything for everybody. The numbers just not going to support it. So what we're hoping to do is to make this a specialist institution providing training and education in areas where we believe that Tobago has certain advantages. So we continue with hospitality. We're going to look also maybe at environmental, marine, forestry related studies, so that we actually encourage people from the Caribbean and the rest of the world to come to this particular institute. But it's going to be done incrementally, taking into consideration, as I said, the demands and the needs. I also want to just indicate that one of our immediate plans is to make that institute a training institute for public employees in Tobago. Because I am convinced that public employees in Tobago do not have the opportunities to improve themselves as their counterparts in Trinidad. And we have been spending too much time piggybacking on courses and programs that are coming from Trinidad, and we send people. And I'm saying that that is something that we're going to be looking at so as to ensure that our public employees have the opportunity and take the opportunity to improve themselves.
Initiatives to improve and upgrade the historical sites and attractions on the island were addressed by Tourism Secretary Tracy Davidson Celestine.
The financial request for physical infrastructure projects is estimated at $62.5 million. This is our request to the Division of Finance and Enterprise Development, noting, of course, that we would have only received $13.5 million in the last fiscal period, which did not allow us to do much in terms of our physical infrastructure projects. But the development of our historical sites, so attractions and tourism facilities, are an ongoing process. And through the Project Implementation Unit, we are currently engaged in beautification, refurbishment, and upgrade works at our sites and facilities. At the Pigeon Point Heritage Park and the Store Bay Beach facilities, several key developments have occurred, at both in an effort to create greater awareness of our facilities. And so we are making them more attractive, more accessible, more user-friendly for our visitors, so to speak. In 2014-2015, we will be looking at the implementation of the Scarborough Heritage Trail project, the operationalization of the Tourist Visitor Center at Bloody Bay in concert with the Division of Agriculture, Marine Affairs and the Environment, the ongoing works at the Scarborough Rockley Bay Conservatory, and of course this is a new project in collaboration with the professors of maritime archaeology at the University of Connecticut and other institutions, where we are basically trying to unearth the 17th century cultural artifacts related to the war. Mr. Presiding Officer, industry standards development is also on the agenda for 2014-2015. There have been regular discussions with the tourism associations to assess a number of challenges that we currently face with regards to service delivery. And because we need to ensure that we maintain appropriate industry standards, which is of course critical. We are working with the Tobago Hospitality and Tourism Institute to ensure that we implement our hospitality assured certification. And 2 persons at that institute were recently sent to Barbados to start the process of training so that the process can be institutionalized at the institution and then rolled out to respective sectors in the hospitality sector. For the new fiscal period, we will partner and dialogue with the Tobago Hotel and Tourism Association and also the Tobago Industry of Commerce to address some of the anomalies that we currently face.
In regards to infrastructure, Secretary Gary Melville spoke on road improvements.
We would have seen in the estimates on Monday a sum of $268,883,000 that was allocated for a number of projects in the area of roads and bridges. Critical among those include the commencement of construction of the Mount St. George Castara Link Road, which is an option that we believe could provide a catalyst for development of lands in agriculture, in ecotourism, and related activities in that particular area. Included there is also the upgrade of the Franklin Road from Lekoto to Arnos Vale. Again, providing opportunities for opening up economic activity in terms of agriculture, ecotourism, and the like. We will continue some of the work that was started by the previous secretary in terms of widening critical areas on the Windward Road. Some work remains to be done at Goodwood and Delaford. We also have the issue of the recurring issue of the Turpin Bend at Charlottesville, and I want to expand on that a bit because the secretary would have mentioned it on Monday. For that issue, we are going to be seeking external engineering advice because we want to come up with the best possible solutions, because it is not necessarily an easy situation to deal with. But we want to promise the people of Charlottesville that we will be focusing on getting some solutions to that particular issue. Also in 2014-2015, the division wants to construct a roundabout at Chauvin to ease traffic gridlock and traffic accidents and reduce traffic accidents in that particular area. We would have recently built the 3 roundabouts, at Shaw Park, Orkinskio, and Signal Hill, and they have all proven to be successful, so we would want to continue with the Chauvin roundabout. Allied to that would be the Storby local road extension into Chauvin. Storby local road extension into Chauvin, again, providing solutions for the traffic issues in that particular area. We also have the continuation of the upgrade of the Old Milford Road in terms of the other bridges that are left, the other bridges there, in terms of widening those particular bridges, replacing them and widening them, starting with the one at just after the abattoir, and including the other 2 after the Lambo fishing facility. We are hoping that within the next 2 months we can start construction of the first one and we have the other 2 planned for completion during the fiscal year. We are also having, of course, we continue with our road resurfacing program throughout Tobago. The Division of Infrastructure and Public Utilities takes great pride in the fact that we believe that we have one of the, if not the best, road network in the English-speaking Caribbean. And it is so because the Assembly has continued to put resources into road resurfacing in Tobago.
Councillor Denise Soyefat Angus spoke on the training and development initiatives coming out of her division.
When we talk about investment in the area of training and development and cultivating attitudes of excellence, the global thrust towards diversification, particularly for small island developing states, such as our own, has placed emphasis on the development of Tobago's cultural and creative industries. The division supports this view and is adamantly pursuing Tobago's cultural and creative assets as a viable economic sector in its own right. Consequently, 25 persons have been trained and have graduated from the Practitioner's Certificate Program in drama, theater, in education, and dance in education. And this is a collaboration with UE in Trinidad. The Vocational Skills Program now offers 41 classes in at least 16 different vocational courses in communities throughout Tobago, and is driven to excellence through a collaborative effort with the National Training Agency to provide participants with a Caribbean vocational qualification, otherwise known as the CVQ, which would allow them to obtain industry employment and even across the region. At least 25 persons from the film industry in Tobago would have benefited from the collaboration with a private sector organization to provide a film training course for them, supported by an international professionals. The division's inaugural Arts Push initiative aims to help those in the artistic genres to build upon their creativity and ingenuity to become modern innovators in the arts as a means of promoting and preserving the Tobago culture, enhancing the island's cultural industries, and sustaining the Tobago Heritage Festival. The certificate program seeks to raise awareness and prepare those in the art industry for careers, which will in turn contribute to the overall development of the cultural and creative industries in Tobago. Over 150 persons from the heritage groups, community groups, village councils, and the general public are being trained in script writing, acting, stage management, lighting, set design, sound, dance, drum, and public speaking. Mr. Presiding Officer, if we intend to ensure that persons are self-reliant, then the division is committed to ensuring that we empower persons and we educate them so that they can take responsibility for themselves. And therefore, the workshops will run in tandem and as a precursor to the Tobago Heritage Festival 2014, where the participating students will have the opportunity to practice what they have learned throughout the festival and throughout the communities.
In the area of home improvements, Secretary Dion Isaac spoke of new housing initiatives.
The next fiscal year will realize construction of more housing solutions in the following developments: Castara Development, Plenary Development, and I see the Secretary of Finance smiling, Corland Development, Friendship Development, Adventure Development, Shervan Development. Ambitious, you might say, Mr. Presiding Officer. However, the demands of Tobagonians requires such a response. No one said it would be easy, but we must deliver. Mr. Presiding Officer, it was John C. Maxwell, a well-known author on leadership, that said, and I quote with your leave, "In life, it's not what you have that makes a difference. It's what you do with what you have." And that is exactly what we intend to do. We are going to utilize the lands that this administration has acquired for the people of Tobago, and that is what the people of Tobago is expecting of us. That we will bring to the table what we have, while the private sector and private investors will bring their funding and construct houses that will be more affordable for the low and middle income earners. Because that is the mandate, Mr. Presiding Officer, one that we have faced head on. However, over the years, the allocations from central governments in the past simply could not even begin to scratch the surface. And because history can certainly guide you going forward, I am saying that this limited allocation approach to housing in our beloved island, Tobago, has not produced the kind of yields we desire, nor that which Tobagonians desire. And therefore, Mr. Presiding Officer, we are going to employ a new tactic. Private-public partnership. We are currently examining and discussing different financing modalities that will not only be able to finance the development and bolster the development of housing, but will also reduce the financial burden on the Tobago House of Assembly, which will in turn be a win-win-win situation for all parties involved. This new approach will assist more and more, why I even say thousands of Tobagonians, to achieve their dream and goal of owning their own house and having a place to call home.
Education Secretary Huey Cadet informed that there will be new learning tools for teachers.
In terms of ICT and new technology, Mr. Presiding Officer, we will be working in conjunction with a number of agencies to ensure that we provide other opportunities to excite the environment for learning. We are currently in discussion, and for fiscal 2014-2015, we are looking at introducing on a pilot station a tablet that comes with software for the early childhood environment, Mr. Presiding Officer. It comes with, I myself in the demo was realized how helpful it was. You remember the adjective and you remember the verb, and the conjunction, but very often you remember, you forget what a preposition was, and therefore when going through this tablet, I and all got a little reminder of some of my own language with it. But this is an initiative. We also would want to be looking at an initiative that exists that has been piloted and has won an award. Awards in Jamaica, and very successful in Jamaica, which is called an enrichment card, Mr. Presiding Officer, that assists with literacy and numeracy and science, Mr. Presiding Officer. And these cards, and that will also go along with the Samsung Smart Classroom, Mr. Presiding Officer. These enrichment cards, all of them allow the opportunity for the use of labs that have tablets, or the opportunity for individuals to be given tablets to work with. One of the benefits to the tablets over the laptops, Mr. Presiding Officer, is that the tablets can come with SIM cards, and one, you can track the tablet if stolen or lost. But even more importantly, you can use the internet or communication to upload information onto the tablet, so that the teacher, the school can send homework, they can send information and new applications. And this allows us, it's something we want to pilot in fiscal 2014 to see how we can continue to ensure that we make learning in our classrooms even more exciting.
Secretary Godwin Adams spoke about the plans and initiatives of his division, which are in keeping with the CDP 2.0.
Mr. Presiding Officer, I go into the fundamentals of the CDP 2.0 as the framework to which the division will drill down from, and these pillars that we are going to drill down from are: one, the construction of 2 abattoirs, one at Hope and another at Kendall. It is estimated that they will cost some $26.5 million. Another pillar, Mr. Presiding Officer, is the linkage of agriculture, education, and tourism. It is also instructive to place as another pillar the expansion of the tissue culture laboratory. The commissioning of a new packing house at a cost of $5 million is also one of the pillars on which we will drill down from. New leases of lands granted for agriculture production. Continued rehabilitation of access roads, Le Nature Park, the role marketing plays in achieving food security for Tobago, the division of natural resources and the environment. Mr. Presiding Officer, an estimated cost to function in the division for fiscal year ending September 2015 will total $290 million for both recurrent and development programs. Mr. Presiding Officer, I now turn to amplify on the matters raised before. Mr. Presiding Officer, the present abattoir is past its sell-by date. It is some 30 years old, and there is no alternative but to replace it. Because of its proximity to the sea and lack of land space for future expansion, it was decided to remove it from its present location. Whilst preparing to implement this project, because of the increase in production of pigs in the east of Tobago, it was decided that it would have been better to build 2 abattoirs, one to serve the farmers in the west and one for those in the east.
Health and Social Services allocation of the budget was outlined by Secretary Claudia Groom-Duke.
In Budget 2015, the budgetary allocation for the health and the social services sector is the highest. We see an amount of $846,416,919. And I can break this down to personal expenditure, $114,738,734. Goods and services, $114,357,209. Minor equipment, $8,446,465. Current transfers and subsidies, $608,874,511. But of this current transfer and subsidies, we have other transfers, which is for TRHE, $463,093,241. Transfers to household, and that is $75,204,000. $413, or $413, sorry. But I want to say here that the $75,204,413 transfers to household is that fund, that allocation that is under the Ministry of the People and Social Development. As you know, Mr. Presiding Officer, social welfare is on the 5th schedule of the Tobago House of Assemblies Act, and therefore this fund, this allocation should be under the Tobago House of Assembly. And so it is in this budget, and we do hope that central government will take this legal issue into consideration so that we in Tobago can have our money for our 3,000 old age pensioners, our 1,000 public assistants and persons living with a disability, and our general assistance grant. So I really want to let our people in Tobago know that while we have an increase of 106,561,321 for the Tobago Regional Health Authority, we want our money that is allocated under the Ministry of the People and Social Development.
At the end of the presentations, Finance Secretary Joel Jack closed off the proceedings.
In light of all the achievements that we have outlined in the budget statement, Mr. Presiding Officer, we have done well in the face of serious underfunding and disrespect and encroachment by the central government. Last year, the budget figure was $4.95 billion, and we received probably just under 50% of that. But what is surprising as well, Mr. Presiding Officer, we are seeing a trend. We are seeing that the government will go again to the Parliament for mid-year review and look to allocate additional and supplemental funding for various ministries. And it is done so uniquely. Last year they did it, and they ensured that what was due to Tobago, what was given to Tobago, was only the arrears to pay public officers. But Mr. Presiding Officer, I am waiting patiently again to look at the numbers in detail, and come sometime in either July or August, when we have our fateful meeting with the Minister of Finance, again we will put Tobago's case to the Minister of Finance. Because, Mr. Presiding Officer, in the face of all the challenges, we have done well. And that brings me to the point of our unfinished agenda. And again, in true Tobagonian honesty, we have laid our cards on the table and said, listen, we wanted to do more, but we could not because our hands were tied, we were shackled by the limitations imposed on us by the Tobago House of Assembly Act. However, the unfinished agenda also allows us, Mr. Presiding Officer, to step back and with a sense of caution and a sense of prudence to adopt a greater degree of planning as we undertake pre-investment studies and feasibility studies in a number of major projects. At a glance, we can look and see the merits of most of these projects. However, it behoves us that we adopt, a principled approach to undertake more feasibility studies, learning from the past, learning from some of the challenges that we've encountered in some of our mega projects as we head into the future.